On a warm Saturday evening in Macon, Missouri, the participants of the American Tractor Pullers Association gathered with the farm community to renew their allegiance to our country. Welcome, everyone, as ESPN Speed World continues its coverage of the Jasper Engines and Transmission Pulling Series. This is the Duramax Diesel World Finals presented by Lucas Oil, the grand finale of an entire season long. Now, tonight we'll be seeing two categories here, the top modified tractors in the class and pro stocks. We'll get things started right now, first of all, with the Duramax Diesel Pro Stocks. In lane number one, this is a two-track pulling course here in Macon, Missouri. Our first puller is the El Nino of Philip Marsh. I'm Ted Jones. Joining me in the booth, Tom McConnell.
Philip will set the mark to beat here in the Duramax Diesel Pro Stocks. Tough International 273.10.
I wouldn't be surprised if the track doesn't get a little better, actually. It's, I don't know, last night it seemed like it stayed together real well, so I think it'll be okay.
And our next puller coming up right now, the die-hard Deere. It's a John Deere. Everything turns green for Craig Willman.
One of the toughest tractors from the Badger State Pullers. They're a member state of the Jasper Pulling Series. Do a lot of events in Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. And it's green up front. John Deere takes over the lead.
Don Gillespie's waiting for him on top end.
280.02. That's not a bad run. Are you going to take it? It's early in the class.
I'm going to have to take it. I don't have a choice, turn down or not. So I was on both brakes pretty good, and I don't know. It won't hold up, I'll tell you that.
Well, we'll see about that. 280 feet is not too bad. Meanwhile, backing into position now, the boiling point, Brian Bowles with a big international, Tom.
Good-looking tractor out of Missouri. In fact, runs with the tractor pullers of the Midwest. This is his home track. The hometown crowd has got to love this international. He's got to be 280.02, and he will come up short. John Deere Green still up on the lead.
His kingdom for just 4 more feet. Now back to John Deere time. Lance Little, the gang green, out of Illinois.
Lance Little actually sold his pulling tractor earlier this year. This is a brand new ride, debuting it just 2 weeks ago in Madisonville, Kentucky, and hey, it's working. He takes over the lead, 285.10.
John Deere with the lead by a full 5 feet. Let's go down to top end.
As he gets his helmet off and gets settled in 5 feet on the nearest competitor, that's got to be some good news.
Well, it felt real good. I got a little bit farther right than what I actually wanted to, but tractor performed real well. Didn't have a whole lot to see being that early in the class, but I don't think it'll hold. I think the track will lay in and get a little better, and there's too many good tractors back there. I think they'll go way by me.
We'll find out. Indeed, here comes the Farmer's Dream. This is Connie Molyneux from Unionville, Missouri. Again, a diesel. Notice that big plume of diesel smoke right there. They're allowed how many turbochargers?
Just one turbocharger in the Pro Stock category, and Connie, the only lady driver in the class, comes up short.
Well, let's take a look right now at our next puller, the Rampage of Rod Ewing. Now, remember, he has to beat 285.10 feet, but it's another John Deere. He could do it.
Oh, very well has a chance of doing it, making a very straight run. Track just chokes him out at the end, but hey, it's good enough to take the lead, 287.05.
We have a new leader, so as we go to break, here's our Lucas Oil leaderboard. Rod Ewing in the lead by 2 feet. A reminder, this ESPN2 in the driver's seat coverage is being brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. And by K&M Filters, ask for them by name. We'll be back with more. Welcome Welcome back to the Duramax Diesel World Finals from Macon, Missouri. Oh, what an ambitious crowd this is. Well, World Championships are on the line. Let's move over now to track number 2. You've been watching the Pro Stocks. These are those wild and woolly Lucas Oil super modified tractors. We'll get back to the Pro Stocks on the other track a little bit later. Wait a minute. How many engines is this guy allowed to have, Tom?
Well, you're allowed to have up to 4 V8s, but he is running something very, very unique. 2 Chevrolets on the back, but an inline 6-cylinder International Harvester motor with 2 turbochargers on the front running alcohol. It is an incredible piece, to say the least.
By the way, that is Don Nelson. He calls it the Texas Bullwhip, setting the mark to beat at only 257 feet. Let's hear from him.
Well, the crowd had to love that engine combination, but the most important question is, how did you like the track?
Well, the track is not as good as I thought it was tonight. I probably was a little heavy on the front end.
A little heavy on the front. Now, here's 4 normal motors, all mounted in a nice normal way. This is Jerry Stewart with the down and dirty. Looks like he may have some Chrysler Hemis there.
Oh, these motors are anything but normal. They are absolutely awesome. Jerry Stewart won the event this year in Evansville, Indiana. Could very well be the guy to beat right now. On his way on a killer run, very straight. Tire speed at nearly 180 miles an hour. No surprise, Jerry Stewart takes over the lead.
292 feet, almost a full pull. If you're not a regular viewer, that's 300 feet. Let's go to top here.
A strong run down the track, almost a full pull, not quite. What are your feelings?
Well, the track's pretty loose out there, but feathered it all I could and tried to drive it out, and it hooked up a little bit, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Did you line up any different than the previous competitors, or did you put it pretty much right down the track?
We just tried to get out of the ruts of the previous guys, about all we did.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll find out about that. Now, here comes a guy that's been doing it for a long time, a great name, uses a different engine arrangement. This is Scott Tedder and the Mr. Twister.
Tedder making a very good run, but living up to his name, twisted all over the track. He's going to come up short.
Speaking of Lucas Oil, their president, Forrest Lucas, was here, and we asked him about his involvement in motorsports.
We spend a lot of money on motorsports of different types of advertising. Having been raised on a farm myself, I always liked tractor pulling. This was always a lot of fun to me, and I'll say to anybody who's never been out and watched one of these live, if you like pretty paint, smoke, and noise, you ought to come out and see one for real. But I'll be quite truthful. We probably get more bang for a buck off of your ATPA than we do probably any other venue we do in motorsports. The heavy-duty industry is where we started. We're very big there. And, of course, we want to reach everybody. We have stuff for the trucker, for the farmer, for the factories, for just everybody, for the car. Lawnmower. Well, if you've got something to use oil, we got something to mix with it and make it better.
All right, how about this thing? Winner Forrest Lucas wants to put oil in it. All right, Tom McConnell, exactly what is it?
This is Dave Snyder. The legend pulls on 2 T64 helicopter motors. It is absolutely awesome. Just listen to the sound. Turning the tires at nearly 200 miles an hour, but he still doesn't catch the Hemis. The Hemis are still out front. Jerry Stewart still in the lead. Let's check it out now in our Lucas Oil replay. Gets the afterburn right there out of the turbine, and it lights up, and it goes. This tractor formerly owned by Art Armand, the world record speed holder, retired from pulling, and Dave Snyder from Michigan has taken over the reins and does a fine job with it.
We might point out that is a turbojet engine that they use in those helicopters. That's why all the fire. So as you can see, with our Lucas Oil leaderboard, Jerry Stewart is in the lead. We'll take a break. When we come back to track 1 in the Pro Stocks. Back in Macon, Missouri, as we continue our coverage of the Duramax Diesel World Finals, a part of the Jasper Engines and Transmission Pulling Series. For all of the latest news and notes from the world of motorsports, visit rpm.espn.com. Now, before we get back to the pulling action, Tom McConnell has left the booth to make a special award.
This week's Lucas Oil Best Appearing Award goes to a tractor that Well, it could have won it many, many times, and now it's finally won it. And that's Mickey Shorter and the Buck Eater. One of the most beautiful 4955 John Deeres you're going to see in this Duramax Diesel Pro Stock tractor class. Just look at it. Beautiful factory John Deere OEM paint, sparkled and clean, just as beautiful as anything you're going to see. So we thought we'd better visit the owner of this tractor, Mr. Mickey Shorter. And Mickey, how much time does it take to keep a tractor this immaculate? I mean, you guys pull on some good tracks, some bad tracks, some dusty tracks, some muddy tracks, but every time you unload at a Jasper event, your tractor's immaculate.
Oh, it takes a little time, but it's worth it when you guys interview us like this.
Well, you don't do it all by yourself, do you?
No. She does most of it, really.
And who is she?
My wife, Linda.
Linda, does he work you like a slave? Is it a family organization? What's going on? I mean, every time I see you guys unload, you're out there waxing as well.
Oh, we try to keep it as clean. We like for them to look really good and shine, and I just think it's a great thing to see all the tractors here and all colors, and it's just really great.
A lot of the tractors that win the Lucas Oil Best Appearing Award sometimes have the tendency to be all show and no go. Not the case with the Buck Eater. This tractor is all show and all go. In fact, he won his first Jasper Engines event this year last week in Baraboo, Wisconsin. He may do it again here tonight in Macon, Missouri. We'll find out if the Buck Eater comes on top.
All right, let's find out right now. Tom McConnell, get back up here to the booth. Meanwhile, take a look at this John Deere. Let's see if he can beat the mark already set in Pro Stock.
Mickey has to be 287.05, and the Buck Eater does it, 292.05. Let's go and talk to Mickey.
It's nothing but green at the front of the pack, and even better news is you're at the front of that.
Well, we got lucky, didn't we? It pulled me awful bad to the right, but it stayed up there, so what the heck.
And things continue to be green. Welcome to Dude Generation Plus. This is Robbie Lamptey.
One of the tough tractors from the Badger State Pullers, sporting the older John Deere sheet metal. And hey, Ted, he is out of here. Our first full pull. Hey, Hal.
A full pull, the first one of the class. You got to feel pretty darn good about that.
Yeah, we are. We're pretty happy. We didn't think we could do it, but we kind of knew we could at times, but we never had the chance to do it until we were able to.
Well, here comes a guy that could do it, the Green Streak 2, and this is Steve Boyd, the famous pulling Boyd family. Now it takes a full pull. That's 300 feet.
Currently number 2 on the Jasper Pulling Series. And no surprise there, another full pull from the Boyd family.
Boy, you know what? He looked like he could have just kept going when the flagman told him to shut it down. Meanwhile, here's another regular on the ATPA series, the Green Extreme of Mike Sarver. Uh-oh, looks like he's got problems. What happened there, Tom?
Looking at the smoke, it looks like a plunger is stuck on his fuel pump. That is the problem. The air is shut down. The motor is just getting just enough fuel to keep it lit. And it won't stop running until it runs out of fuel. As you can see, the ATPA officials just waiting to shut it down.
That's what they call dieseling, right?
Exactly. If it keeps doing this, it'll actually run off its own oil. Right now, they've hit the dump valve. That's fuel coming out of the motor. And now the tractor's shut down. Gets a standing O, not the kind he wanted, but hey.
So as we go to break, everything's green, 1 through 5. 2 full pulls, that means there will be a pull-off. We'll take a break. When we come back to the modified multi-engine monsters. Welcome back to Macon, Missouri. We'll move back over in the other class now, the Duramax Diesel World Finals, and that other class is the Lucas Oil Modified category, those wild multi-engine monsters, beginning with Dave Archer and the Trailblazer.
Very unique machine. 4 turbocharged Chevrolets on this machine. Makes a lot of tire speed. Brand new tractor. Still hasn't worked the bugs out. Oil coming out the bottom end. Archer comes up short, but don't count him out. Every run, Ted, that tractor's getting stronger and stronger. And speaking of strength, this is Wayne Freak.
The Dirt Dancer is tough. If anybody could do it, he can. Creech is on a pass. Oh, 292.02 feet. That's just how much inches short?
6 inches short, he would have beaten the Hemis. And speaking of the Hemis, here is Bill Leishner, world champion on the Jasper Pulling Series, trying to go for 2 consecutive Jasper Engines Lucas Oil championships in a row, but he is bouncing. He's going to come up short tonight, but he's past Tedder. He will win the championship, but not the event here tonight.
So that's all that he needed right there as we take another look at it, because this is, ladies and gentlemen, the World Championship run.
Bill Leishner, you came into the event. All you had to do was hook to the sled, go straight, not go out of bounds. You're not going to win the event with a 269.32, but that seals the championship.
Yeah, it feels good to win the championship, but we wanted to go out winning at Macon. They just couldn't get our power to the track. The tractor was bouncing. I don't know what the problem is, just combination of this tractor on that sled on this track. Just not a good night for us.
All right, let's get back to the pulling now with the Pioneer entry. The car dealer, Dave Archer, will be our final puller in the modified category. And don't tell me he's got Chevrolet engines.
Oh, absolutely. Die-hard Chevrolet guy. A big Hemi up in the lead. Jerry Stewart, 292.68. Dave Archer will come up short to 82.44.
So here's the way they'll finish with our Jasper Pulling Series final standings. Jerry Stewart barely beating out Wade Creek. And now a moment of celebration. There you see ATPA VP Mike Chastain and Forrest Lucas presenting that World Championship check to the new champion, Bill Leishner.
Earlier at the ATPA World Finals, Darrell Meese seized the World Championships in the lightweight superstock. Now, it was a very tough battle between he and Randy Payne, Randy being the John Deere diesel. It was a battle between the alcohol and the diesels all season long, but when the dust settled in Macon, Missouri, Darrell Meese picked up his second ATPA Jasper Engines world title.
And in addition, he also won the event in his category. Here are those final standings. You can see a pull-off is necessary. We'll remind you this ESPN2 Speed World coverage of the ATPA Pulling Series is brought to you by Duramax Diesel, the most powerful diesel engines available in a heavy-duty pickup, and by Lucas Oil Products, #1 in the trucking industry. Back in Macon, Missouri, as we're ready for the pull-off of the Duramax Diesel World Finals, a part of the Jasper Engine and Transmissions ATPA Pulling Series. And backing up right now, our first puller, Robbie Lemke.
Lemke, one of the toughest tractors from the Badger State Pullers, trying to hold his own against the Grand American regulars. The flame just belching out of that exhaust. A lot of horsepower here tonight. He will set the mark to beat this track. It's just excellent for these pro stocks. 295.07, and remember, it's a floating finish line. You pull it till you can't pull it anymore.
Let's see what he thinks about that
We
pull.
did as good as we could have. I couldn't ask any more out of the old girl tonight. We'll see what happens. See what the good Lord lets us do.
That's all you can do, but it is a good hook and track.
Yeah, it is. We were pretty surprised by the way the track hooked up tonight, and I think I got better.
He's only 5 feet short of a full pull as Steve Boyd gets ready to pull right now. Now, some of these pullers in the pull-off, you didn't get to see their initial pull because of time restraints right here, but you did see the green streak #2 from Washington, Indiana.
This tractor, by going down the track right now, Ted, he becomes #2 in the Jasper Engines Duramax Diesel Pro Stock points. Your #2 tractor in America, and right now, he has taken over the lead, 297.09 here in Macon.
297.09, you take the distance by 2 feet, do you think it'll hold?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say it's questionable, real questionable. Pretty good pass, not a bad pass. I think the other tractor of mine might get this one. We'll just see how it works. You never know.
That, of course, would be Steve Boyd, but right now the Tinker toy of Kevin Masterson is up.
Oh, one of the most awesome John Deeres to watch. I love the stock type front end on this tractor. Just kind of dangles in the air as he goes down the way. Your defending world champion from last year, and he will come up short, 289.11, as we check out Steve Boyd's other tractor. Now, a lot of times his sons drive this tractor. They're at home in the cornfield. It's harvest time. They sent the father by himself to Macon to take the Jasper Engines World Championship, and by being here tonight, this is the #1 Pro Stock in the points. Not going to win the pull, though. His other tractor's in the lead.
Yes, it is, and it's holding well at 297 feet. As we take a look again at Kevin Masterson, who normally does not drive both tractors. This time he is because, like you said, it's farm time.
That's right. Father Don is home in the cornfield. The son, Kevin Masterson, takes the River Rat, and the River Rat really comes up short here, 280.03.
We have another special award to present.
This week's Jasper Engines Best Engineered Award goes to a very interesting tractor indeed. Now, in the Duramax Diesel Pro Stock tractors, the class has been dominated by two manufacturers. The Case IHs, the red ones, and the green ones, of course, the John Deeres. Our champion this week that we're giving this award to isn't an International. It isn't a John Deere. It's actually an AGCO Alice. In fact, this tractor is an Alice Chalmers D21 with brand new AGCO Alice sheet metal. And we've got the driver here, Travis Doman. Travis, why did you go orange?
When I was little, we've had orange tractors since I can always remember. So we started out orange. Everything on the farm now is green.
Is it true, though, that the Alice Chalmers tractors have a great disadvantage in that the biggest motor they made was a 426? I mean, you guys are really low on cubes compared to the 680s of the John Deeres and Internationals, right?
That's right. We're restricted on the cubic inch because 426 was the biggest they built. So getting them bored and stroked out to compete with the John Deeres and cubic inch is a lot of work.
Well, how big is this motor?
It's 591 cubic inches.
Do you see it an advantage in that maybe you can get some more RPMs, or are you just crossing your fingers every time you go down the track?
Well, we're at 591 cubes, but to make it compete with these guys, we got to go to the drawing board a little more.
Well, let's see if he can do any good on the drawing board. Remember, he had a full pull earlier.
Oh, he is also the champion for the tractor pullers of the Midwest. So he's your regional champion here on the Jasper Pulling Series, running with the Grand American guys. Come on, you AGCO Alice fans. But Ted, he's all over the track. I think he had the power, but got a little crazy, and he will come up short, 265 and change.
Jumping up and down right there, and you don't want to do that. You want to see those wheels suspended in the air. As we take a look at our final puller, Nick McCormick with an International Harvester, the only red tractor in the bunch.
Hey, don't count him out. Won 2 events this year on the Jasper Pulling Series. On his way to a very good run, but I don't think so. No, it is going to be a John Deere night in Macon, Missouri, Ted.
So Steve Boyd will end up being your winner in this pull-off of the Pro Stock tractors. Matter of fact, let's take a look right now at how they finished up in the full pull. Now we have one final award to present. That is our Duramax Diesel Hot Pull, and it's going to go to one of those wild modifieds. Look at that thing shake and tremble as he begins to apply the horsepower of 4 supercharged engines.
Oh, this Hemi of Jerry Stewart is awesome. Bar none, the Duramax Diesel Hot Pull of the day. Great run for Stewart.
And that'll bring to a close our coverage of the Duramax Diesel World Finals. We leave you with this exhibition run of one of the Lucas Oil big rigs. This one is Johnny Man. Until next time, I'm Ted Jones for Tom McConnell. So long, everyone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.